Okay, so good morning, and my name is Michael Alex, and I'm a DevOps engineer here in Bincom Dev Center. So today I'll be talking about servers demystified. My last KD session, not just my last, but so many KD sessions that I've presented, I've been talking a lot about servers, and I know this is a platform where we have marketers, we have project managers, we have software developers, we have a whole lot in this platform. So sometimes we kind of get confused whenever I talk about servers. So that's what I'll be trying to clear out today, that what is a server? What do servers do? Who actually handles servers? How do we harness or make use of servers? What are the benefits of servers in a company or in an organization? If we don't have servers, how will that organization thrive? So let me go to the next slide while okay, fine. So what is a server? A server is a computer designed to process requests and deliver data to another computer over the internet or a local network. Now, in servers, we must know something, that from the word server, it means that it gives services to another device. It might not just be computers alone. It might not just be our phones alone. Now we are in a generation of Internet of Things where a television can communicate with a phone can communicate with maybe a fan or maybe even a chair. So, of course, there must be a central point where it gets its information from or it gets its instructions from. Now, for example, let's look at it this way. We have a big organization. I love using banks as examples because I know banks has a lot of infrastructure. It has a lot of positions. It has a lot of things that we can liken our contemporary official settings with. So let's take, for example, a bank. Now, in a bank, you'll find out that there are some places where they put big machines, very big machines. You can see over here by the left-hand side of my screen, you can see very big machines all stacked in rows. Now, these places, you don't just find them just anywhere. You just find them where, customers will have access to, or even where cashiers will have access to. In fact, not all IT specialists even have access to this type of rooms. Why? It is because in these rooms, we have special computers. Look at this stack of lines. They are actually computers, because a computer is anything that has a CPU. As long as it has a CPU, it has a storage, it has a memory. That particular device is a computer. Even that is why we can also call our phones computers, because it has a CPU, it has a memory, it also has storage. So look at all this. Fine, it might not be having the screen of a computer, but actually we have a lot of things going on in these machines. Without these machines, all the computers, all the devices within that organization, we will not be able to share information. Now look at it. How is it possible? I have my computer over here as a cashier, and the bank manager also knows about the transactions that I carry out on my computer. Let's take our Bincom, for example. We have a whole lot of things stored in the cloud. In fact, our Slack is also it's also done in the cloud. We collaborate on the cloud. Now, how is it possible that our team lead is able to know what we do? It is because there's actually a server somewhere that actually gives that information out to other computers for them to use. So that is what it basically means. I'm going to be fast because I believe I have a speaker behind me. So that's what I'm trying to say from this slide when I said a server is a computer designed to process requests and deliver data to another computer over the internet or local network. It might be through the internet when we talk about cloud. It can also be a local network, such as this one we can see by our left hand side. A well-known type of server is a web server where web pages can be accessed over the internet through clients like a web browser. So a web server is a good example. All of us, we all use Opera Mini, we all use Firefox, we all use Google Chrome and all that. Now there is a particular place where all these pages are being stored. Take a server as a place where files, web pages, anything you can think of as far as is part of the resources of that organization, where everything is being stored. So of course, in this slide, we are talking about web server. So from the word web server, it means it's a server that serves as a place, or should I say is a server. This web server is a place where web pages are being stored. So whenever you need a request of maybe one particular page, you click on that particular URL and then it fetches the page for you from a particular server. Whenever you use your www.nscdc.com, it is not actually coming from the space. It is coming from a server. It is coming from a place where all web pages are being stored. So we should take note, internet cannot work without servers. It is very true. Now we are having a lot of cloud services such as Alibaba. We are having Google Cloud Platform. We are having Azure, which is owned by Microsoft. Now, if they don't have a server somewhere, it is not possible for us to actually use their services. Now, we talk about some things like, let me just say S3 in AWS. There's actually a service known as S3. We have EC2 services. Now, without a server somewhere owned by AWS, it is not possible for them to tell us that, fine, you guys can come and have a portion of this or that. Now look at our Google too, which is also the same thing. If Google does not have a server where they store their information, how are we going to now go into Google and search for, let me just say, a dog, and we get information from a dog when we don't have a place where information about dogs is kept? So that is what it practically means when it says internet cannot work without a server. Without an internet, it's not possible for us to send information from one computer to the other or from one device to the other. What does a server do in a computer network? Although any computer running the necessary software can function as a server, it is true. Our devices can, let me just say, our tablets can serve as a server. Our computers, our PC can serve as a server. Our phones, small phones can serve as a server. And the first thing I mentioned was about Internet of Things, where even a TV can serve as a server. Now we have it that even in YouTube, you are able to share whatever is going on the screen of on the interface of your YouTube on your television set. Where is this coming from? It's actually coming from a server from YouTube. So all what we just had to do is just to create a network where the TV and the phone are able to meet so that they'll be able to share information. So that is why it says here that although any computer running the necessary software can function as a server, the most typical use of the word reference is enormous, high-powered machines that push and pull data from the internet. That is the clear function of a server. It is to push, it is to pull. Now we have developers over here. Now, why do we have GitHub? We have GitHub because we need a place where we can actually store our codes. We need a place where we can actually store our scripts, where we can store our processes maybe in form of documentation. And then, of course, how do we do this? We push it. We push this script into GitHub. And then if you need it in your local machine, that is in your PC, what do? You pull. So that is what I would just liken this to when they say they are high-powered machines that pushes and pull data from the internet. Most computer networks support one or more servers that handle specialized tasks. It is very true. As a rule, the larger the network in terms of clients that connect to it or the amount of data that it moves, the more likely it is that several servers play a role, each dedicated to a specific purpose. What this long English means is this. What it's saying in summary is this, that there are some computers which can actually play several roles. It is possible that a computer can be can be a server in different ways. It can be a web server. At the same time, it can be a database server. This is very possible. So if you remember last, we said they are very high classified machines, like they are big machines that are able to do so many things at the same time. And that is why you find out that their storage size, their memory size are very big so that they can be able to process information very, very fast. So common types of servers are, I'll summarize this, are web servers, email servers, FTP servers, identity servers. Now, let me go to the next slide and talk about a web server. So a web server shows pages and run applications through web browsers. Now, we've already mentioned something very similar to this. Just look at this image over here. We have a central server, which is big, of course, from a gigantic computer and has a lot of storage, can do a lot of things at the same time. And it is servicing so many computers around. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 computers all connected as a network with this particular server. And they all get their information from this server. And that is why whatever information that is in this particular computer, let's call this, if this is computer A, computer D over here can also get that same information. So from that, now look at it. What if we have a web server, this central server, let's say it was a web server, and they all have their pages stored in this particular server. So what will happen is that whenever anybody needs a particular page, maybe let me just say Bincom ICT page, the person just requests for it, and then this server gives it to this person. This person needs, maybe just say he needs a GTB outsource. The person asks for the page, and then this server, of course, gives it back. And that is why we talked about push and pull. So the server is actually pushing the information, and while these computers are pulling information from the server. So this server, the server your browser is connected to now is a web server. It is very true. This is not a web server because it gives pages, it gives web pages to all these computers. However, we should always remember that the server must be what? It must be internet enabled, meaning that it must be connected to an internet. It's not possible that we do anything on the web without an internet. So the server your browser is connected to now is a web server that delivers this page and images on it. The client program in this case is a browser like what? Like Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, Opera Mini, and Safari. So now, what do people actually use in getting this information? They don't just go to their computer and go into their operating system and then just pull it just like that. No. What they have to use is that they have to also use an application that is able to communicate with this server that understands its language. So that is why we need to use browsers such as Firefox, such as Chrome, Opera Mini, for those that use Mac and Apple laptops, they need their Safaris for them to be able to connect to their web server so they can get information from the web. So web servers are used for many tasks in addition to delivering simple text. It's very true. And that is why through our web servers, you can add pictures, you can add text messages, you can add files, you can add even your Word documents and all that. You can upload them. And that is why we benefit a whole lot from OneDrive, from Google Drive and all that. So it can store a whole lot of things. So such as uploading and backing up files online through a cloud storage services, which I've just talked about, or online backup services. Yes, it is true. Web servers actually does that. Now we have email servers. Now look at this picture over here. We have two computers. What are they doing? They are sending messages to each other. You know, this email server, without an email server, it's not, I don't think it's possible for WhatsApp to work. I don't think it's possible for Facebook to work.
Sorry, I thought maybe it's only me. Your slide is not
your
moving.
slide is not moving. We've been on server demystified.
Jesus!
Yes,
oh my God!
So,
server.
Oh my God! Oh my God! I should be
it is
like
demystified. It is demystified.
Oh my God! No, this one is mystified actually.
It's demystified.
This is mystified.
Right.
Oh God! Village people at work.
Don't worry, we'll demystify them here. They don't want to hear server. They want to fly.
Man, this all hits me. I'm coming. Let me sort this out. Thank you for calling my attention to that. Okay.
I've not seen anything yet.
In fact, time has gone.
Let's speak up.
I have how many minutes?
All right.
Please, how many minutes do I have left?
Okay. You have let's say
He doesn't have any minutes left. He's done.
Oh my God.
No, he has. Mr. Nuruddin is next.
It's just 20 minutes. Yes, 20 minutes each. So
Okay, it's done already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be done.
Okay. All right. This is where I'll stop actually. This is where I'll stop. But what I'll do is I'll just give a summary in 3 minutes.
Yeah, meeting, election.
Can you see my screen now? Like, can you see the
Yeah, just maybe.
Yes.
A little bit of wrapping up.
Okay, good. So let me just wrap up everything.
Okay.
What I've said since is that servers are big computers that are able to give information to other computers. So for them to give information, what it means is that they actually have to store information. And that was why I use GitHub for people that do Git processes. I talked about GitHub pull and push. Then we talked about a network. It must surely work around a network. It must always work with other computers. It must always work with other devices. And without an internet, it will be very difficult for it to actually share information, files, resources among different devices. And then we also talked about different types of servers. I talked about the web server. I talked about the mail server, though I didn't talk about FTP and identity because of time. So in web server, I said something that look at web server as a place where a whole lot of web pages are being stored. And then whenever a computer types girlsdon'tlie.com, then it brings up a page to you. So it is because the page has actually been stored somewhere. And then when you requested for it, your browser actually communicated with that particular web server to bring that information. And I was wanting to talk about email server, where I will say, or should I say, I wanted to say that it is a place where messages are being stored. And then in that place where messages are being stored, if you need any information, you just send a request and then it pulls that information to you. And that's why from this diagram here, you can see sharing of emails or messages, and WhatsApp uses this technology, Facebook uses this technology. Anything that has to do with exchange of messages must actually need a mail server. So that is where I'll be stopping.
Oh, all right. So
Thank you
all
so
right,
much. And thank Elijah for calling my attention to this.
you're welcome. We have been demystified. It's all
All
good.
right.
All right,
This
thanks
is
so much
fine.
for such an amazing section. All right, Mr. Nuruddin, you'll be coming up next. And please keep your questions for them. Mr. Michael is ready and pumped to receive your questions. So just get your questions ready. Mr. Nuruddin, kindly take the place as fast as possible. All right, thank you so much, sir.
All right. Mr. Michael, can you stop sharing your screen so I can?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so who is in charge of the live, the YouTube live? You can just stop and restart the live again for the next presenter.
Okay, it stopped.
Okay. It's going to do that now.